They say you can't take it with you when you die, but in San Antonio, Texas, that's exactly what one woman did. In 1977, a wealthy Beverly Hills socialite was buried in her Ferrari behind the gates of a modest cemetery on the east side of San Antonio. Her name was Sandra Ilene West, and her grave has become one of the strangest and most talked about burial sites in Texas. Welcome back to Wandering SA, where we explore the forgotten, bizarre, and meaningful stories that make this city one of a kind. On the east side of the city where Sandra West is buried, you'll find one of San Antonio's most historic and overlooked places, the old city cemeteries, where the stories of the city are literally carved in stone. This area consists of multiple cemeteries that span multiple city blocks, all sitting side by side in a quiet part of town, like an open air archive of 19th and 20th century San Antonio. Veterans, pioneers, politicians, and everyday folks all laid to rest in plots that reflect our city's complex and layered history. As strange as it may seem, the story of Sandra West fits right in. Now let's get back to it. Sandra West was born in 1939. She married into oil money when she wed Ira West, a wealthy Texas oilman. After his death, Sandra inherited a large fortune and began living life at full throttle in Beverly Hills, the kind of fast, lavish lifestyle you'd expect from a Hollywood starlet. Silk robes, late night parties, champagne on ice, and of course, a powdered blue Ferrari 330 America parked in the driveway. She quickly became known for her flair, extravagance, and love of luxury, but there was more going on beneath the surface. Despite the wealth and glamour, Sandra was reportedly a deeply private person, often retreating from the spotlight. Her health was fragile, and behind the elegant facade, she battled chronic pain and a growing dependency on prescription medication. Some who knew her said she seemed lost, a Texas Harris adrift in the haze of 1970s Beverly Hills. In 1977, that lifestyle came to a tragic end. Sandra West died at just 37 years old, reportedly from an overdose of painkillers. But as strange as her life may have been, her most unforgettable chapter came after her death, thanks to a will that would make even Hollywood raise an eyebrow. In her handwritten will, Sandra demanded to be buried in her lace nightgown, sitting up in her Ferrari with a seat slanted comfortably. And if her wishes weren't followed, she warned that her estate should be withheld from anyone who disobeyed. Bury a whole Ferrari in a city cemetery? Most people didn't believe it would really happen. And if you're asking, so how did Sandra West, a Beverly Hills socialite, end up in a quiet San Antonio cemetery? Well, it turns out her late husband's family owned a plot at San Fernando Cemetery number 2 on the city's east side. And so that's where she was sent, to rest beside the man she loved in the car she adored. The burial drew national media attention. Cameras rolled as the Ferrari was lowered into a massive concrete lined grave, and cement was poured on top to discourage grave robbers. Some say she was truly buried in the driver's seat. Others believe it was just a stripped down shell of a car filled with sandbags. To this day, no one knows for sure because there are no detailed public records and no one dared to dig it up. Her grave marker? Simple. Just a small stone that reads Sandra West, 1939 1977. I lived in the city my whole life, and as kids, we would pass through these cemeteries as a shortcut, barely noticing the names etched into the stones, let alone wondering who they were. Just rows of headstones, shadows under pecan trees, the quiet kind of backdrop you learn to ignore. But now I realize every block in this city has history under your feet. Whole lives, strange stories, forgotten chapters, waiting to be noticed. Sandra West wasn't just buried in a Ferrari. She was buried in a city that holds secrets in plain sight if you just take the time to look. In the shadows of the old city cemetery, there are tales of yellow fever victims, Civil War soldiers, and long lost founders of the city. San Fernando Cemetery number 1 is full of names that built San Antonio, politicians, revolutionaries, and families whose stories are half forgotten. Just down the road, another cemetery has crypts cracked open by time, with trees growing straight through them as if history refuses to stay buried. In San Antonio, even the dead have stories, and sometimes, like Sandra's, they're more unbelievable than anything the living could dream up. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more hidden history, strange tales, and the people and places that make this city unforgettable. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and tell me, did you know that there's a Ferrari buried in a cemetery in San Antonio? Until next time, keep wondering.